Surprise! I've got shelves! So on Friday I purchased a tripod, and now this means we can get out of my room and actually see my books. I think most of my videos are still going to be filmed on my chair. I like filming in there, but I've got a couple of tags that I want to film today that are shelfy kind of ones, so I brought it out here. So the first video I'm going to film here is the On My Shelf tag. And so this was started by Ian Broom, and I'll leave a link to his video down below. And I was tagged by Jo at Jo Reads Books. I'm going to use the same coordinates that she was using, and we'll just see what happens. I've not done any prep, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. I think the shelves hit 1 through 7, so that's just going to be my first bookshelf here and the top shelf of this one. But I've got the 3 shelves here and many boxes of storage, so this is only a small percentage of what I actually own, but let's explore it. So the first coordinate is shelf 1, book 5, and this is The Secret of Chimneys by Agatha Christie. This is one of Agatha Christie's works that doesn't feature one of her main detectives, either Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple. This one is set at an estate called Chimneys. It's one of 2 books that feature there, and there's a female character called Bundle, which I love. Some of her pet names that she gives some of her characters are just fantastic. There's another story that features somebody called Egg, just cause. So this one has Bundle. This was a little bit more of one of her adventure kind of ones. Not exactly adventure, it's kind of all centered around chimneys pretty much, but not quite such a staid mystery, but a little bit more exciting. I read this one for the first time as part of my reading through Agatha's works chronologically. Everything by Agatha Christie is just fantastic, so definitely highly recommended. The second set of coordinates is 2, 6, and surprise surprise, the Agatha Christie collection goes on for so long that the second shelf also is all full of Agatha Christie. This one is Crooked House, and it's one that I haven't actually read yet. This again doesn't look to be one of the ones that features one of her main detectives, and I don't know actually anything about the storyline of it. But I'm not up to the second shelf yet, so I'll be getting to this at some stage. Probably not next year, by the looks of it, the year after. So the third set of coordinates is shelf 3, book 10, and again, it's still Agatha Christie. This one is Miss Marple and Mystery. It's a short story collection, so it's got all the Miss Marple short stories plus others. Instead of owning all the individual copies of her short story collections, we've got them in 3 volumes. There's this one, Miss Marple and Mystery. There is one called Detectives and Young Adventurers, which has got all the Tommy and Tuppence short stories and other different ones. And then there's a Hercule Poirot short story collection, and that's got all of the Hercule Poirot short stories. So I've read parts of this. I have dipped in for the short story collections that I've reached chronologically, as well as others that I've read over the years, maybe in their individual book form. So I've certainly not read all of this yet, but I'm working through it. The next coordinate is shelf 4, book 13, and Agatha Christie only hits the first 3 shelves, so book number 4 we're guaranteed something new. Although, quite fitting coming after Agatha Christie, this is Urn Burial by Kerry Greenwood. This is book number 8 in the Phryne Fisher series, and this is kind of Kerry Greenwood's tribute to Agatha Christie. There's a character in this that turns out to be quite like Miss Marple, and funny how these coordinates work out. The Phryne Fisher series is a crime series set in Australia, mainly Melbourne, during the 1920s, the late 1920s, and it follows a character called Phryne Fisher. This is her on the front. She's quite the independent lady. She's, you know, a little bit scandalous, doesn't see any harm in taking multiple lovers, wearing pants. There are a lot of books in that series now. You can see them all along this shelf down here. I've read the next 2 after this one, I think, so the first 10 books in the series, and she's just a delight. The next set of coordinates is 5 and 15, and that is Keebler's Secret by Juliet Marillier. This is another series by Juliet Marillier. I've spoken about her a fair bit. This is the second book in her first young adult series. There was initially meant to be 3 books in this series, but her publisher asked her to move on and start writing the next young adult series that she did, which has been completed. So not sure at this stage whether we're going to get a 3rd book at all. The first book in the series, Wildwood Dancing, follows a group of sisters, and the first book was told by the second sister's perspective. This one now moves on to Paola and follows her storyline as she acts as her father's scribe during a trading mission to Turkey and the adventures that go down from that. This one kind of gives me the feels of Juliet Marillier does Indiana Jones. There's adventure and mystery and quests and a pirate and a surly bodyguard, and it's wonderful. Anything that Juliet Marillier writes is just fantastic, and so that's kind of my Juliet Marillier shelf down there. The next coordinate is 6 and 11. And that is Friends, Lovers, Chocolate by Alexander McCall Smith. This is the second book in the Sunday Philosophy Club series. I've only read the first book, the Sunday Philosophy Club. I own quite a few of Alexander McCall Smith's books, but I haven't read all that many. I've read, I think, the first two in the No. 1 Ladies Detective Agency series. I've read the first one in this series, and the first one in the 44 Scotland Street series. But I haven't kind of gone further with them. I do remember enjoying the first book. I just haven't gotten around to picking up any of the further ones, but someday. The next set of coordinates I've immediately forgotten. The next set of coordinates is 7 and 16, so that brings us up to this shelf here and my gorgeous Clothbound Classic collection. And this is A Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings by Charles Dickens. I haven't read the other Christmas writings at this stage, but I have read A Christmas Carol. It's funny, I commented on Sam from Novels and Nonsenses video today, her 25 Bookish Facts video, about how her family had a tradition of reading A Christmas Carol every Christmas. I've been trying to start a tradition to read this every year or listen to the audiobook version of it. I've got an audiobook narrated by Tim Curry, who I think would be perfect for narrating this. And of course it only goes for a couple of hours, so I've been wanting to get to it every Christmas for the last few years and it just hasn't happened. So I am hoping this year I can start that tradition. And the last set of coordinates is 3-9, which sends us back to Agatha Christie territory. This is Come Tell Me How You Live by Agatha Christie, or as she's credited here, Agatha Christie Mallowan. Mallowan was the name of her husband, who was an archaeologist, and she accompanied him on his digs, which is where she got a lot of inspiration and the ability to set some of... I have never seen the cat get up on the bookshelf before. What are you doing? Well, there you go. Somebody wanted to be involved. I wasn't sitting in the chair where she could brush past my face anymore. She wanted to steal the limelight. What's I talking about? So that's where she managed to do a lot of her research to set some of her books in the Middle East. This one is Come Tell Me How You Live, an archaeological memoir. So something written on one of the expeditions they did, I think, to Syria and Iraq in the 1930s. I don't know how I'm meant to put this book back. So that was the On My Shelf tag. I hope you enjoyed getting a glimpse of my shelves. I'm quite pleased to get it in shot now. The fact that I've got this tripod means I've got a bit more flexibility. In my room, my camera was sitting on a footstool that was sitting on a bar stool, and there's a memorable scene in one of my War and Peace videos where it kind of jumps off and just lands in my lap. And out here is tile floor. I can't have it jump off, not to mention the fact that I'm going to have to get a bar stool and a bar stool to get up this high. It was going to get precarious, so I couldn't do any filming out here until I was able to get something that would be a bit more sturdy. So thank you, tripod. Yeah. I'm not sure yet who I'm going to tag in this, as this one has been around for a long time and a lot of people have done this, so I'm not quite sure who's done it and who hasn't. So I will do a little bit of research and I'll pop them up here or have a ending saying who I'm going to tag. But basically, if you want to do this tag, do it, because I think it's a lot of fun and I'm really in trouble. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.